to the April 9th edition of the Urban League Jobs Network Digital Career Success Series, brought to you by the National Urban League. I'm your host, Kenneth L. Johnson, president of the Harlem, New York-based diversity recruitment firm East Coast Executives. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Whether it's your first or 21st time, please jump in the chat and tell us where you're from. The Digital Career Success Series, DCSS, is a professional development series that helps members of our Urban League's young professional chapters and other diverse job seekers develop new skill sets that will enhance their careers through digital platforms such as webinars, Facebook, and Instagram Live. The goal is to provide an opportunity for professional development right from one's computer. If you want more, visit us at nuljobsnetwork.com. All right, I see the energy in the chat, so let's go. Today's DCSS, From Income to Influence, features Wunmi Duyile and Lisa Kunney. All right, listen, I'm excited about this session. I'm excited to have you two here with us today. I guess let's get it started. Wunmi, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Of course. Hi, everyone. How's it going? I'm loving the energy in the chat. My name is Wunmi Duyile. I am a partner manager at Meta. I've been with Meta a little over 7 years and have extensive experience in digital marketing and really customer success, partnering with brands to help them drive their influence on our social media platforms to drive the KPIs and business outcomes that they're really looking to provide. And so I'm excited to be chatting with you all today, to discuss how we can get from influence to income, leveraging various tools like digital marketing. So excited that you all took the plunge and have joined us today, because that is the first step in getting educated on these various ways that we could really maximize the monetization opportunities across all these various digital channels. So excited to chat with you all today, and I'll pass it back to you, Kenneth.
Man, I needed your energy today. I love it. I really need it today. Hey, listen, let's just give them some backstory. I bumped into you, and where were we at? New Orleans at the National Urban League Conference.
We were there. I was going to talk about that later, but we were there.
Yeah.
And I met Kenneth. The National Urban League had an opportunity where you could get your resume reviewed by LinkedIn reviewed by experts, which is essentially your digital resume. So Kenneth reviewed my LinkedIn and pretty much ripped me to shreds, y'all, all out of love. And I needed to hear it, because as I just said, LinkedIn really is your digital resume, your digital footprint. So it was a great opportunity for me to hear that I'm not showing up on, social media in the same way that I'm showing up in person. And so I'm coming across as smaller than what I am in real life. And that is not good for me aligning to various opportunities. So we've kept in contact. He's been instrumental, been a great mentor, connected me to some great people, and really excited to just kind of give back to the National Urban League for, putting great people like Kenneth on my radar and in my network and in my community now. So always grateful to know you and to be connected to you.
So you really did that. You did a LinkedIn commercial, a National Urban League commercial, and a Kenneth Johnson commercial. I can appreciate it. All right, listen, let me introduce you to your co-host today, Lisa Kunney. Lisa, please introduce yourself to the Urban League audience.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Lisa Kunney. I am a personal brand strategist. I help founders build executive branding through PR, networking events, online presence. I've hosted over 200 corporate conferences and done things both nationally and internationally. I am so excited to really dive deep into your digital presence, how to turn your voice into an invoice, and I'm very excited to connect with everybody.
Excited to have you connecting with us today. When I first met you, I thought the energy was just Southwest Philly. I'm like, you know what? That's the Southwest Philly in her. But you've told me the quiet brands, that's just not how it works. You can't be a quiet brand, right?
No. You can be a quiet brand. You just won't have loud money. So you can always a choice.
well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about quiet brands and loud money, because we know the Urban League audience wants to make money. So let's just talk about it. What are we talking about here?
Absolutely. We're talking about your personal brands. And when I work with my clients, a lot of people think that a personal brand is reserved for celebrities, athletes, presidents, and that is just so far from the truth. When we talk about a personal brand, we're talking about you, your personality, and how you show up when you are not in the room. And that can be done through a variation of ways. It can be done online and it can be done offline. What I really specialize in is bridging the gap. It's not one or the other. I like my right hand and I like my left hand. It's and that, not but that. And that's very clear. So the first things first, when you're talking about your brand, you really want to think about your values. What do you want to be known for personally? And what do you want your brand to be known for in the next 10 years? I always start there. And that way, as you're creating and you're building and you're elevating, you won't feel too many shifts. So when you think about big brands, Coca-Cola, Target, Audi, Mercedes. And then you also look at Tesla, Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, Beyonce, Kanye West, Donald Trump, great personal brands, amazing personal brands. So when I talk about quiet brands don't make loud money, you need to understand that you have a personal brand, whether you are actively working on it or not. Because if you're not posting, if you're not showing your skill sets, if you're not showing your values, that's your personal brand. It's not existent.
I always mention her on this show, but we had a guest. Her name is JT O'Donnell, and one of her taglines is brand or be branded. Right. So either you brand yourself or other people will brand you. Right. So Wunmi, why don't you chime in on the quiet brands and loud money conversation?
Yeah. No, for sure. I think that is very well said. I think that there's an opportunity for not just businesses and corporations, but also us as individuals, like Lisa said, to be at the forefront of creating the narrative that we want to have about our brands, making sure that the brand aligns with what we see in ourselves and what we want to put out into the world. And I do think that there's so many different ways that we can do that, whether you're walking in the room or whether your brand tends to precede you at times, whether that be through your online presence or through your different networks. So I do want to ensure that people are aware of how they can really leverage digital marketing to drive their brands. I think, taking it even a step back, when we think about digital marketing, it's such a broad term, but what really is digital marketing? I like to think about it in terms of 4 different pillars. There's various aspects of digital marketing. The 4 that come to mind, I like to call them the big 4s. 1, there's an opportunity for things like social media marketing. So how are you showing up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn? There's also email marketing. So whether that's how a brand or a person is communicating with their customer base, and what are the different resources and different communication that they're having with you about what the vision for their company is or what their call to action is for you. There's also search engine optimization, which we like to call SEO. So I like to think about that in the lens of things of like Google. So if I Google, it's tax season right now. So if I Google, I need to get my taxes done in 11201, which is my zip code in Brooklyn, who are the first people that are going to come up in terms of various tax accountants who can actually help me assist with this. So making sure that these different platforms are aligned to put me at the forefront and represent what I would like to provide to others and to my community. And lastly, I think the most revolutionary one, or the most recent one, is called affiliate marketing. So this is really aligning to what we're discussing today, which is, that influence to income trajectory, where if I know I have influence, if you see me and you're like, I love the blouse that Wunmi is wearing today, where can I get that from? I can send you a link to this brand and have my affiliate link linked to it, and I could get paid for that. And I could get a little check on that too. So you don't necessarily have to be recreating the wheel or creating your own personal website. But if you have like a great sense of style, or you have different things that align to what you envision for yourself that other people are really attached to, put that at the forefront and allow your influence to drive to that income.
You know what? Yeah, let's talk about that. I want to bring Lisa in as well, because What Wumi's talking about is this whole digital marketing piece, right? And the importance of leveraging digital marketing as a tool. But I guess from that side of it, now are we just talking about like using that to effectively tell a brand story to new and existing customers, as the slide had mentioned? I guess it's important to kind of walk us through what that looks like from the other lens. Wumi's inside on the other side. She's pushing that. She understands it. But me as a consumer, or me as a front-facing customer, what's that mean for me?
It's very simple. People buy transformations, not transactions. So when you're showing up online, it should be a story. People remember stories. And this is why I say we think about when we're kids, right? The games we used to play, patty cake, numbers, we remember stories. So if you are talking about your brand as a story, it's going to resonate a lot more than just posting call to action content. And that's the biggest mistake that I do see on social media, is that when people think, okay, I got to build my brand, they're rushing to do the booking, they're rushing to, spit information. But here's the thing, information is free. Application is what people are going to pay for. So if I am looking forward to Wumi's point, grass cutters in Brooklyn, right? And I can just Google that, that's fine. But if one of my personal values is loyalty, and I look and I say, oh, this landscape company is a family business, and they're talking about their family business, that's going to resonate with me versus just the random, other selections. And it's the same with all of our choices, even as it comes down to banking, right? When you're thinking about choosing your banker, are you going to want to do an online banker who you don't really know, it's reviews? And for some people, that's what they want. Me personally, I love technology, but I have an old soul. I need to see a person, a human being, when it comes to certain things. And this is the importance of telling that brand story. So you want to talk to yourself before you got there. A lot of people are speaking from the landscape of expert, not the landscape of this was what I struggled with, because that's what you want to convey. Because if you're an expert and I need help, I'm still not going to relate to you. But if I'm telling you, okay, that's what is on my LinkedIn. The reason I even am in branding is because I was the one going to events, not getting what I wanted, not getting callbacks. And that's literally what's on my page, is that all those lessons is what was able for me to build a successful company. And that's what I talk about, So that's what you really want to talk about. You want to get your story correct, and you want it to be relatable so that the right people can come to you.
Okay, so we're using our brand story to tell a story, hopefully to connect with new and old customers, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing all of that, but we don't want our brand to be a distraction out here, our personal brand. Because I hear people always say, do I need an account for this? And do I need an account for that? They need to find ways, they're looking to find ways to leverage or maybe even diminish their personal brand. So you're saying the personal brand is not a distraction. I really want to hear about this. So let's dive in.
Yes. Do I want to give the floor to Wunmi, or would you like me to?
Yeah, come on. Let's go.
Oh,
we're having a conversation. It's the Digital Career Success Series.
Okay. So when I say it's not a distraction, right? This is what I mean. A lot of people go on the social platforms and they don't even know which social platform is used for what. LinkedIn is for connection and networking. Instagram is a photo app. YouTube is to educate. TikTok is short form content. And I would love to hear Wumi's perspective on that, being as though the SEOs, the optimization, and how to not make that a distraction, because I think that's part of the issue.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a great point. I think, overall, it's all about connection. I think the goal of all of these social media platforms are connection, just in different ways. And I think we've seen that a lot with some of the scares about, whether TikTok would be banned from the US or not. You know, different content creators saying, my content is not going to go far on, you know, Instagram, or it's not going to be able to, my audience is not on this particular platform, or how can I actually reach these people in a different way, or, you know, gain a new audience there, and still being able to see them kind of be resilient with the different scares around TikTok's banning, and still have, you know, access to building their audiences across these different platforms. I will say that I've worked with a number of brands, some that are traditional and some that are disruptive, in the sense that they're building digital first, and they find success. The ones that are, you know, striving and doing well are the ones who lean into the fact that they see social media as a way for them to reach their community. So they tell their story, but they also lean into the story of others. So, you know, social media is it's a digital platform. So you might see people posting various content and things on Instagram, but the brands that are doing, you know, what's actually really working in the industry is they're utilizing the tools that people may not be aware of. I know brands who find success from utilizing the different boxes on Instagram that's like an Ask Me Anything feature. So brands have gotten creative around, you know, once what used to be a survey is now consumers and people in their community getting to say directly to the brand what they want to see from that brand. So if that is not directly having your ear to the consumer, and you as a consumer having a voice to speak up about, you know, what standards you may hold a brand or a company to, then I don't know what it is. I think there is a really unique opportunity, especially in these next few years, with the focus on connection and really just kind of engaging their communities in very creative ways, to allow customers and users on various platforms, social media platforms, to feel a part of the building process of a company. And so when you do have that direct connection and correlation with the building process, you're able to see a synergy across that kind of breaks down what used to be kind of a distant approach to a CEO. You now feel like, oh, I'm actually a designer too. I can tell this brand that I want to see this in this color wave. And enough people are saying it, they might launch exactly what you said. You now have a voice in what you actually want to consume as a consumer. And the brand, of course, is benefiting from that, where they're able to really monetize in real time off of the ideas of the community that they're building across these various platforms.
You know, let's talk about this. This session is going really fast. You guys are giving so much great information. I really appreciate it. You know, we have people on the feed right now, and they're saying, all right, from influence to income, right? Do people really need to be influential to leverage these platforms to generate income?
You know something? This is what I'll say. Nothing will convince you to not eat in a restaurant when there's empty chairs. Mm-hmm. If I'm going out and I'm looking for a restaurant, and if nobody is in the restaurant, I'm going to leave.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, social media, they do say social media is like a you know, crabs in a bucket. They tend to use that phrase in a negative way, but if you look at it, the influence of consuming content about what other people are leveraging and leaning into does 100% have an influence on others. And I would say that, you know, I would, you know, actually kind of tackle your question in a different way, Ken, because everyone has influence. I think that is 100%. Okay. Everyone in the chat, everyone watching, that should 100% be your takeaway from here. I think it's very much how you use your influence. And that's what I think the beautiful part about digital marketing is. If you are someone who wants to be in front of the camera, that is amazing. There's opportunities for you to leverage, you know, the TikToks, the Instagrams, to use your voice and your face as a brand, as a marketer or a brand ambassador for particular companies, and not just in like a retail or CPG space. You can also do this with the B2Bs. I've seen, you know, like I said, this tax season, I've seen these various tax companies leveraging partnerships with quote unquote content creators to reach their audiences and let them know that, hey, like you all should consider utilizing our services because you all see someone like you also speaking highly of it. But there's also people who want to be behind the scenes, who, again, you could be walking down the street, someone could tell you they love your hair, someone could be in your comments saying, hey, I really resonated, what's a book that you really recommend that has kind of been pivotal to your growth or your success as a business. Now you have an affiliate link to that book, and every time someone buys it, you get a check from that. That is influence. So it doesn't necessarily have to be so, flashy, showy in your face with social media. Because I know sometimes that's really not people's prerogative. It's not their preference. Some people like to be more behind the scenes. I think people have different wiring. We joked about this in the beginning, Kenneth, where, again, my social media, my LinkedIn still needs improvement. I will say, definitely connect with me. I'm improving, but I come from I'm an immigrant household. I'm Nigerian. We are taught to be heads down. We are taught to let the work speak for you. We aren't always taught to just be, super out there and super transparent, and flashy about our lives and things like that. And I'm unlearning that. I'm trying to get better at really, leveraging both, because I do think it's great to let your aura shine and really align to different missions and causes that you may have. But there may be some people who may relate to that and say, hey, I still want to remain behind the scenes. That is not my preference. And so you do have options with affiliate marketing to actually still have your influence that leads to various monetization opportunities that still allow you to kind of be discreetly behind the scenes but collect your checks.
Well, you both are shining on the Urban League Jobs Network Digital Career Success Series. Listen, to our audience, drop your questions in the chat. We will have a Q&A segment after this. And also, I'd like to remind you that this session and all sessions of the Urban League Jobs Network Digital Career Success Series can be found on the UL Jobs Network YouTube channel. All right, listen, let's talk about strategies for utilizing social media. So we're talking both organic and paid, right? Facebook, Instagram. Wunmi, I know this is your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
Lisa, to come in, but speak a little bit about driving meaningful engagement and action. Like, what's that from your side, from the branding side?
I mean, absolutely. So I will say, and one thing I wanted to even add to Wumi's beautiful explanation earlier, when we talk about digital marketing, people tend to leave off two key pillars: media and public relations. Media and public relations fall under digital marketing, but it's a quiet secret. So when you're talking about leveraging any type of advertisement, be it on Facebook, be it on Instagram, it's going to be about your community and how do people relate to you? Do they know you to be a person that is an authority in this space, which is why you need to build that influence. So if I'm talking about personal branding, and if you go on my social medias, you should be able to see me, whether that's posting, commentating, events, something should be able to tell you that. So that now when I actually do my paid ad, it's like a subtle reminder. Where a lot of people go wrong is they dump thousands of dollars in Facebook ads with no community. And you can have a person who has 500 followers. And this is what I want to tell the audience. You don't need to be having 10K, 100K. No. I always say it's about quality, not quantity. I know clients who have 500 subscribers on YouTube that are clearing 6-figure months, because those people that are locked in, they're locked in with them in their program. So even if you're on Instagram and you are a person that you have 500 followers, 200 followers, but those are 200 CEOs, 200 people who are tastemakers, 200 people who can really make things change for you, you're better off focusing there. And another secret I'll give the audience, if you're looking to build on social media and do organic, traffic, follow industry leaders in your field and engage organically. Your mind will be blown. I do no marketing. I do no Facebook ads. My calendar is booked, because naturally you're connecting with these people and it's like the law of reciprocity. They're going to be like, wait, this girl's always liking my stuff. I will randomly support people. I don't know people. I'll just throw them on my Instagram story. Next thing I know, they're asking me to come and meet them in their city. It's literally how you should lead with getting that organic traffic, value first. And then you can have a conversation and say, hey, I really like what you're doing, this, that. And now when you put your ad for your product, it won't seem like you're coming to sell something. You'll be seen as a resource, right? So that would be my take on those two pieces.
So Wunmi, let's talk about that, right? So that's a strategy for connecting and building in that way. But there has to be a technical strategy as well. What's the strategy? What's the strategy for utilizing social media from your view?
Yeah, so I definitely think there's a lot that I hope more people will know after this. But I think, social media, again, the immediate access is free. It's a free platform. If you are a business professional, you have a brand, or even if you just want to see the insights, you should 100% switch your Instagram account, for example, to a professional account. With that comes insights that allow you to see, what are the week over week changes in my following? Which of my posts are people resonating with the most? What exactly are, what are the content that people are really finding to be valuable, so that you can hone in on that data and actually utilize that. It's all at your disposal. I would also say that in terms of as we look at like social media as a whole, again, it is a platform that can be used in various different ways. You don't necessarily need to, utilize the paid aspect. I will say that, again, the paid aspect can take you far, but I will also say that if you are someone who just wants to, put your content out there, see who can engage with it and who won't, don't be discouraged. I think sometimes we're a little sometimes we are a little blind to how much these numbers actually make sense. You might see that someone saw 75 people watched your TikTok. Someone may say that's not a lot. 75 people watching your TikTok is a lot of views. I think sometimes we desensitize ourselves to what our impact actually is, and that can discourage us from the long-term building. To get to 1 million, you had to have 100 at one point. You had to have 1,000 at one point. And so really ensuring that you're committed to kind of the long-term gains of that is what I would suggest. And like I said, utilize the data. I think data is seen as something that can be so scary, but if I am able to, even outside of switching to a professional account that gives you those various insights and analytics for your own personal profile, there's also opportunities to utilize polling. So you can engage with the community that you're building and say, hey, do you prefer this, A or B? Would you like to see this today or tomorrow? And so you're able to really refine that type of data to actually build a long-term community that results in, people feeling connected to your brand and feeling like they're helping to build and be a part of what you are putting out into the world. So those are some key things that I would say there on the social media front. I would also say from an affiliate point, again, I want to hone in on that because I think that is one of the most underutilized ways of social media at this time. But definitely, there are affiliate links through Amazon. There are affiliate links through various websites. There's even affiliate links if you're driving to Target and various websites in that nature. So just, keep all of that in mind for how you can actually utilize that. And that is just simply through you posting that link onto your social media. If people are coming to you and want to purchase something, and then they can then purchase that and you get a commission from that. So wanted to just call out those key points.
Appreciate you calling out those points. You're going to make me hire you. I need that insight. I really do, because it's about alignment for me, right? So as we kind of walk through the slides here, and the next one coming up is speaking about alignment. Like, how do you align your brand with your business? And Lisa, you're the branding expert here, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on how one aligns their brand with their business. And I know you touched on it a little earlier, But let's take a little deeper dive real quick.
I must accredit this to Jay-Z. He said it on his album, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman." That mindset is a shift. You are the brand. You are the brand. So how you align your business to your brand is by understanding, number one, like I went back to, what is your offer? What do you do? Are you a personal development strategist? Do you do branding? Do you do marketing? Are you an author? Are you a singer? Are you a cook? What do you do? That's going to be key. And I always tie it to the values, because if it's natural to you, it won't even feel like it's a switch between the brand and the business. I think that's the biggest misconception when I hear people say work-life balance. No, it's all one, right? So how you show up and how you align your business to your brand is you find what lights you up. What makes you excited? Because that's the same energy and enthusiasm that you're going to bring online. I am not into cars. I am not a mechanic. You're not going to see me post about being a mechanic. I'm like, it's not going to light me up. So you find the one thing, and we all have one thing. I hear it all the time. Oh, this, that. No, you could be a specialist in cooking, brownies. You could be a specialist in ancient car. We all have something, right? And the best way I always tell people, think about what people always come and ask you about. People have been asking me about brand development since I was a child. That's a good way, because I always say, if you think about what people ask you and you think about what you love to do and you think about what's profitable, that's how you can align it clearly, right? So for example, I might have always been, my background is in event planning. So that's how I got into branding, because I said, okay, a lot of these brands are doing events. And I said, but why are they doing these events? And then it follows. So that's really going to be how you want to align your brand with your business. And I also want to add this tidbit. Even on a platform like LinkedIn, a lot of people make the mistake of creating a business page. You're going to go down in the algorithm, because that's not what LinkedIn wants. They want connection and they want, collaboration. So if I was to promote from my business page, that platform is going to make you pay advertisement, because LinkedIn did not spend billions and millions of dollars for ConnectHub to market free on their platform. Now, if I'm Lisa Kunney, I'm keeping people engaged. That's a benefit to LinkedIn. They will push me in the algorithm. So that's how you can align your brand with the business.
That's a conversation that the two of us will probably have at a later date, because I've seen some of that through the business page process. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're speaking about. All right. So your brand is your edge. Mm-hmm. Wunmi, this is what we're talking about, right? A brand being someone's edge, but the tools and resources to expand and to nurture and nourish your brand seem to be in the social media space more and more nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So it says stop hiding here. Talk to us about your thoughts on your brand being your edge.
Yeah, I think that, in this day and age, I will say in 2025, we are a part of a generation and just different communities who care about the mission of companies. We care about, knowing who the founder is. We care about knowing, what does the founder believe in? Many times you might hear people say, oh, I'm not, I no longer want to support this particular brand because I learned that their CEO did X, Y, and Z. And so knowing that, people are taking that personal connection very seriously and holding brands to the standards, holding founders to the standards that they hold brands to, is a unique opportunity for all people in the who want to focus on branding and focus on building businesses to lead with that edge. Authenticity is winning right now. This is the best time to be you. There's no better time to be you than right now. It's people want to know who you are and how you are showing up, and how your programming and how you've grown up and your morals contribute to the brand that you are building, and people want to support that. So I definitely agree that, with Lisa's earlier points about, making sure that you are authentically yourself and not hiding, because this is an opportunity for you to be yourself and then see what aligns to who the image and the brand that you're putting out into the world. I will also say that, I've seen this firsthand with friends, friends posting on TikTok about their various, transparencies around their building their companies. And what happens with them? Talking about various retailers that they collaborate with, or various mailing partners that they collaborate with. And one mailing partner reached out to them, and just through searching for their name, searching for the brand, search for themselves on TikTok, and now that person has an amazing opportunity with that particular brand. So just by being authentically herself, telling her story online, telling some of the qualms and struggles that she was facing, the brand that, was once something that she didn't know anyone at that company, is reaching out to say, hey, we want to collaborate with you. We want to support you. We want to actually drive a long-term partnership. And so all that to say, if she was not herself, if she was not someone who was authentic, and not being afraid to tell the world, whether that be 75 people who are watching her TikTok or thousands, what she was going through, that opportunity would not have presented itself. And yeah, I would also say, stop hiding off says closed mouths don't get fed. If people don't see you to know that, okay, you need help in this way, or your brand wants this type of support, whether that be through fundraising, VC funding, or just support that you want from other potential customers and existing customers, then no one would be able to actually assist you and meet you where you are at. So definitely want to encourage everyone, definitely don't hide.
Yeah, please don't hide. Drop your questions in the Q&A. We will have a Q&A segment shortly. I want to give Lisa, our branding expert, the chance to chime in on that particular question. Your brand is your edge. Talk to us.
Absolutely. It speaks before you do. So when I say stop fighting, and I can really relate to Wunmi also having an immigrant background, but this was the mindset shift that I thought about. It's bigger than me. This digital presence, this company that I'm building, it's bigger than me. And I think it will be safe to say in this particular space, as people of color, if there's not a Wunmi, if there's not a Lisa, I always think legacy. I always think 7 generations behind me and in front of me. That's a pillar of my culture. So I think about the me that's 18, that's wanting to get into personal branding. And if Lisa just shows up online in her authenticity, in her braids, in her melanin, then that one that's coming, it will be acceptable than her having to reinvent that wheel every single time. I know in our community, we always talk about representation and different things like that. One way that I really like to utilize my personal brand to really empower the Black community is I show up authentically Black in any speaking engagement, any hosting. I am who I am, so that when those pictures are being taken, they're floated through in the perception of what is out there. I'm recreating that brand of what it means to be a Black woman in America. No, this is who we are. So that's what I mean. You can't look at it from just a perspective of, oh, I want to make money, or, oh, I want to stop. When you start thinking about legacy, because that was my experience, it's because people came before me, which is why I can sit here and be a personal brand strategist, because there were others. There were the Felissa Rashads, there were the Angela Bassett's, there were all these people who were prominent, beautiful, powerful Black women. So now when I step into the scene, it's not abnormal. So I think when you talk about your brand and hiding, think about who can I impact? Because there's one part that we left off: how to turn income or influence into income and translate that to impact. And if you don't do it that 3-step way, we're going to be in the same place.
I love it. So as we talk about impact, we have to talk about the data behind it all, right? How do we leverage? Wunmi was speaking about analytics, and I've been working with some of that now as I do a sponsor deck for this event, and just grabbing that information because I'm using that to kind of secure partners and things of that nature. So let's talk about how we leverage data in this conversation, right? Because it's going to refine the way we're doing things. Wunmi, any thoughts on marketing and customer acquisition strategies as it relates to data.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I think it comes down to one, don't be scared of data. I think there's unique opportunities for us to leverage both the qualitative and the quantitative. We talked about this extensively today, but again, people are not robots. People care about how brands make them feel. They care about that emotional aspect that actually will influence whether they want to support a brand or person or not. And so when we think about leveraging the data, utilize those free tools. You know, those paid tools are also out there. I think that there are 100% opportunities for you to, you know, find different resources, free resources online that can walk you through how to make sure that you're getting a strong return on your investment when you do invest in platforms like Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and so forth. But there is a unique opportunity that is available just through insights that I think that's a tab that is very underutilized across Instagram, across LinkedIn, across TikTok. And then I will also say, you know, AI is your friend. I think that, you know, sometimes, obviously, I will say, you know, caution, try not to get too dependent on it, but using it as a resource so that, you know, if you do want to look up particular data in your field or even as pertains to your business, you can put that in AI and say, hey, analyze my website. If you are analyze my website as a new customer, analyze my booking as a potential customer that I want to convert in the next 30 seconds. What optimizations would you improve? What would you recommend? And again, you can take that feedback or you can leave it, but just having that data right there to help guide you as you think about iterations of, you know, improvement for your business. Those are the tools that are very underutilized, and it's essentially what's going to set people apart in who, you know, they say we're in a recession now, who is, you know, rising to the top in this recession and who is not, and who also has long-term impact with their actual brands that they're building.
Lisa?
Absolutely. I would say it makes me think about something that's one of the key principles of mine. And this is something you can apply on your digital presence or even in your health and wellness journey. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. I did an experiment where I said for 90 days straight, I'm going to post on LinkedIn 5 times a week. Very clear on who my audience is. Very clear on who I'm wanting to target. I'm not guessing, right? I know, yes, like you said, Wunmi, I have the authenticity, the personality, the stories, but it gets a lot easier and sharper when you know, okay, I attract founders in real estate and tech consulting companies. Now I can take that data and say, what type of offer do I want to promote? Do I even want to promote an offer? Do I just want to do research and development for another 30 days? Do I want to do a webinar? Do I want to launch a book? Do I want to host an event? Because now you're looking at that. And the beautiful thing about looking at the data, your engagement will tell you. You'll start to say, okay, these are the type of posts or these are the type of clients I want to attract. Implement that change, and those type of people will come to your post or come to your page. I get so much opportunities just from LinkedIn. I don't have any DM me in my brand. I don't do nothing like that. All I do is know who I'm talking to, and I'm very clear about that, which is why I said you want to be clear about your brand, because I think another side to talk about, if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. You want to be very clear as to who you're speaking to. And I even utilize AI and say, what type of message does this repel? Because I want to repel the people who are not for my brand, because that's what holds us back. A lot of people want to play it cool. They don't want to be disruptive. And that's what's stopping them from making money. Yeah. Because if you're going to be an authority in personal branding, you have to show up. There's no other way. Some people might think that's controversial. We're in a creator economy. Some people might think that's controversial. I mean, that's just what you have to be aware of. So when you're building this out and looking at the data and utilizing AI, challenge yourself. It was interesting. And when I read who the list repel, I was in agreement. I want them to repel that. And then you ask, who does this attract? How can I tailor my posts? Rate this LinkedIn post out of 10. You don't depend on the AI. You take that post and then you use your own CI, creative imagination, and then you write it out and you post that. Because LinkedIn might say, it's a 9 out of 10. That other 1 point is me. I'm the CEO of this personal brand. So just by doing that simple prompt, you're able to now automate so that if you want to outsource that, you as a personal brand or founder or CEO, I can now tell somebody exactly what type of post I wanted to make if I wanted to go on a 30-day vacation because I'm clear. I'm not guessing and I understand the expectation. But if you don't have that data, you're not going to be able to articulate that, to delegate that. And then you're going to be spending your time on every social media platform, telling people to DM you, chocolate to get
Yeah.
a one and not see any results. So you got to use the data. The data is your friend.
Hey, Wunmi, see, Lisa's a prompt engineer. I did not know. I just I didn't know. And look, we're going to jump into the Q&A real quick. We'll see what type of questions we have here. I'd like to start out with this one. I thought this was really interesting. What are some practical first steps for someone looking to monetize their personal brand? So, Wunmi, if you don't mind chiming in, practical first steps. I think we had a very similar conversation like this a couple weeks back. So
We
I know you
did.
can answer yes.
Yeah. So practical first steps definitely have I would say one, put to paper what you think your brand is and what you want your brand to be. And then also list out key examples of how you feel like you've shown up in that way and set goals for how you would like to show up that way. And that could be, set a 3-month goal, set a 6-month goal, set a 1 year, just whatever aligns so that you can actually have a clear trajectory. I think when you're aligning to your personal brand, also be intentional about thinking about what people come to you for and what you find joy in actually providing to others. Making sure that you marry the two, where you're not over pivoting to do something that you may be great at, but that you don't necessarily want your brand to align to, and making sure that you are still providing value and impact to others, and pouring into others in that way. So that would be my suggestion of where to start first. I would also say talk to your mentors, talk to your friends and family. Like Kenneth said, we had this conversation a few weeks ago talking about myself, and I reached out to him and said, hey, I need some help with this. So let people who know you and who care for you actually be able to share their opinion on what they see for you and see if it aligns. If it doesn't, that's good to know so that you can pivot. But if it does, it's helpful to kind of build on that and utilize, what you've written down and what you hope to accomplish as next goals that you have, and those people will hold you accountable to it.
Hey, Lisa, I left that conversation with Wunmi. I was the one that got stuff from that. She helped me out, right? She's talking about she called to get help from me, help me out. So that's a great interaction and a great relationship to have, right? I want to speak to you. So we talked about this, Lisa. People, we see their successes, right? Especially on social, and as they're branding through, people want to show the highlight reel. Can you speak to us about maybe some mistakes that you made early on your journey to supporting and assisting people with brands and just learning about the whole concept?
Absolutely. I think one key mistake was hiding and saying, I don't want to post on social media. I led 6-figure brand projects, and because I had that similar immigrant mind of, oh, I don't want to be boastful, I don't want to speak about my accomplishments, to my shock, not everybody had that mindset. And it almost started to be my hard work. People were accredited that to their ingenuity. And I'm like, wait, hold on here. I was the architect, I was the program manager, I was the PR, but I wasn't visible. So that was a key. And I even tell people, even if you're working on your corporate job, anytime your supervisor says you led the team, great job, use the snippet app on your computer, snippet that and submit that for your 90-day review. Always have your accomplishments said. If you're working with a client, if something is good, get it in writing so that that's a testimonial. And I didn't understand the importance of showing your accomplishments in a teachable way, because that's what's going to also help you attract. So not posting, a lot of what we're seeing in this creator economy, it is not that the creators are so talented, they're just more visible.
Yeah.
They just post every day. They just are more, reachable. And we need to understand that we are creatures of access. So
Yeah.
if I want to access a bottle of water, I'm not going to go to, Colorado and get it from the spring myself. I'm going to pay the $15 at the airport because I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
That's how most people think about it. So that was a really, really big mistake that I made, is that I wasn't really visual. I wasn't consistently posting. And one thing I will say to tell the audience, commit to one social media platform for 1,000 days. Don't ask me any questions. Be committed and consistent. There's no get rich quick. There's no magic pill. No. Commit to yourself, your brand for 1,000 days. I promise you, come back and tell me what happens.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to take this question out of here. Where can I go to get my LinkedIn page improved? I'll tell you where you can go. The National Urban League Conference will be in Cleveland this summer, and we will be doing LinkedIn profile reviews. So come to Cleveland, check us out. We'll get your LinkedIn taken care of. Ask Wunmi. She came all the way to New Orleans just to get that LinkedIn review. All right, listen, Wunmi, what tools, platforms, and resources would you recommend for someone just starting their journey into turning influence into income?
Yeah, so great to have you all here today. I definitely said this earlier, but this is one of the first of many great steps that you can take. I would also say it depends on on what trajectory you see for yourself. I think there's a unique opportunity to leverage the free resources that are online. And that could just be through, people say that TikTok is kind of like a search engine tool at this point. So really kind of typing in the various trajectory that you may have for your life, or just inspiration and things of that nature, people telling their stories, and see how you can be inspired and also kind of learn from what tools that they are using. A lot of this stuff, I tell my brand sis that I work with, that it's not necessarily always about recreating the real. Everything doesn't have to be new. It doesn't always have to be something super different. Some of these strategies we can learn from the accomplishments and the mistakes of others. It is great to be inspired. We are humans. It is normal to be inspired, and you can utilize the reach and the access to all of this information and seeing what other people and brands are doing to help you achieve and reach your goals as well. So I would say definitely take advantage of resources. Always have to plug. Meta has resources from a paid standpoint. I think that Meta's advertising can sometimes be a black box where people don't know how to utilize it. But again, once you do, it's smooth sailing. I have friends who utilize it for their businesses, whether that be events that they want to advertise and improve the reach to thousands and thousands of people, or whether it be a B2B company that wants to reach other businesses. Once you are able to kind of read through the resources that are free and on Meta's websites, you too can leverage these tools. You can put $10 in and see a return of thousands, or you can put $5 in and see 500 people come to your events. So definitely don't sleep on those tools. I want to plug that, and I'm sure those same tools exist for the Snapchat and the TikToks as well.
So listen, let's go into closing remarks here. You guys have been amazing. Lisa, do you have any closing remarks for the Urban League Jobs Network Digital Career Success Series audience?
Absolutely. Start building your personal brand today. Commit to it. The resources are available. Connect to those who are in the space and be confident in what you're doing. And you will definitely see a lot of success with building your personal brand.
Love it. Wunmi, any closing remarks for the audience today?
Yeah, I definitely want to just kind of recap everything that we've discussed. The one thing I love that Lisa said is stop hiding. I think that is one of the biggest takeaways that I think we should all leave with, because it's really about putting out what you want for yourself, what you want for your brand, what you want for your business, letting people know how they can help you, how they can support you, and what vision you have for your life. I think a lot of times we've kind of programmed, I'm speaking for my life, sometimes you program yourself like, oh, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to tell people what's coming up. No. Don't hide. Let people know. There are people who destiny helpers who may align to your purpose and want to pour into you and help you reach that next destination that you have for yourself. So yes, in the words of Lisa, stop hiding.
I love it. I'd like to thank both of you for being simply amazing today. This session was, I can't wait. I'm going to have to rewatch because there was so much information shared and I was just engaged in the conversation. I'm not sure I got it all, but I'd like to thank you, Wunmi, and also you, Lisa. Listen, the Urban League Jobs Network Digital Career Success Series, we're all about connection. So if you want to connect with Wunmi, please drop in on LinkedIn. She did her LinkedIn commercial today. So connect with her there. She's over there. And also, she set up her calendar, and if you have some questions that you want to ask about utilizing maybe meta services or something of that nature, please do not hesitate to reach out and lock in with her. Also, Lisa Kunney doing great work in Texas, right? Yeah, but representing Ghana to the fullest. I see. I love it. Lisa, she's on LinkedIn as well. I see you. I've been seeing you a lot on LinkedIn. Are you in that 1,000-day window now?
I am. Join me.
Yeah, I've been seeing you push through. Yeah, I've been seeing you push through. And she has her next event, Pathway to Ghana. Locked in here. There's a registration link. If you want to connect with me, please do not hesitate to hit me up on at the eastcoastexecutives.com website, or you can catch me on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn. Listen, it's Financial Literacy Month, and there's a couple programs going on for free, actually, through an Urban League affiliate, the New York Urban League. They're doing some programming. If you want to know a little more about that for Financial Literacy Month, as it relates to your business, do not hesitate to reach out to me, and I'll share that information with you as well. I'd like to invite you all to join us again for the Urban League Jobs Network Digital Career Success Series. We're talking data-driven decision-making. This I'm really excited about. I know Wunmi had leaned in on it. Lisa leaned in on it at the close of this discussion today. But it's extremely important for us to kind of look at the numbers and make decisions based on not just our gut feeling, but on actual data that's telling us what's happening. So you can leverage analytics to drive business decisions. And we'll talk about that on April 23rd. And that's for everybody, small business owners, people working in corporate. Listen, you're going to have to look at the numbers to drive your business decisions and to present your case on any platform. My name is Kenneth L. Johnson. I'd like to thank the team at the National Urban League, of course, Corey O'Donnell behind the scenes, making this run smoothly, Dave Gannon, and our fearless leader, Wanda Jackson, helping us put this together. Each and every 2 weeks, we do it. It's the Urban League Jobs Network Digital Career Success Series. I'm Kenneth L. Johnson. Be safe. Thanks for joining us.